How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Crypto Clout. I'm your host, FaZe Crypto, and today I think I'd like to talk about DigiByte, and of course I'm going to use a couple different points that I've made in previous videos as a jumping off point before we get into the key discussion in here. I made a previous video today that was talking about more or less the news and really talking about the shift in a macro sense, the way we've been seeing various different entities across the world, of course, including corporations and, for everywhere that there's big money involved. The real key issue, I would say, of this, turn of the century is sort of going to be computing power. Now, I want to read this, thing from the DigiByte Reddit. Now, I'd recommend, if you're a member of the DigiByte community, I'd say the DigiByte Reddit really is a pretty cool resource. Now, this is a DigiByte weekly discussion thread from August 23rd, and so here we go. It says, hello, it's August 23rd, 2020. Welcome to our weekly discussion thread. All right, so it says, can someone here convince me why I should invest in DGB? I am new and would love to hear opinion of someone who knows more than me. At least I know almost nothing about DigiByte. So this video would be a pretty good one for people who are sort of still new to the, not necessarily new to the cryptocurrency space, but not necessarily only limited to DigiByte. But I think it is interesting to talk about DigiByte, as it is, a rapidly growing open source blockchain created, as UTXO blockchain. So now we have here this response, which I found interesting. In short, DGB is Bitcoin on steroids. It's based on the same UTXO paradigm like Bitcoin is, but it's much faster, more decentralized. It's also the longest chain with 6 years under its belt, can be used as asset management. It has a big, passionate community. On top of that, it's severely undervalued for all of the properties that it has. It also has 5 mining algorithms to improve decentralization and fixes Bitcoin's freeze problem by adjusting the difficulty much quicker. And then it goes on to say that, it's the only UTXO POW that has got maximum scalability, decentralization, and security, and also supports smart contract issuing digi assets similar to ERC20. And by saying scalable, it means DigiByte can support more volume than Ethereum currently, with low fees, that's pretty good. I think that's pretty interesting. I think that puts it pretty well. Now I like to see the community in action like that. I think that's probably one of the greater things about the DigiByte community, and one of my favorite aspects of it, and really why I'm so passionate, and happy to be a member of the DigiByte community. Just seeing people who've been able to, just help each other out and not be snobs about sharing information when it comes to people who are new to the space. And I think that's really, but when we talk about, the real fundamentals, that is very interesting when we consider the actual use of these, when we talk about actual implementation of cryptocurrency and what we can expect to see in terms of the larger aspect of the paradigm shift that's currently occurring. It will certainly be prevalent when we consider a lot of these different variables as they've been sort of building on top of one another, and in particular what we can expect to see just in terms of the fact that, one thing that I always point to when I talk about this issue in terms of adoption and just the average Joe sort of seeing this stuff as valuable in their day-to-day life, because I understand that most people, in particular if you live in the United States or Canada, or just really anywhere that has a bank near you, you might not really understand the full gravity of the situation when it comes to the demand that is, and of course, I think people have become more aware of this sort of crisis in the, in this past couple of months. And of course, I think it has sort of been, as far as there have been plenty of things to complain about in 2020, but I think really when we talk about the failure of a lot of these different organizations, that in terms of old paradigm establishment, banks and so forth, and frustration that might result from attempting to work within a failing system. And I mean, you look no further than places where they don't necessarily have access to banks. You look at the developing countries and so forth. And I mean, that's what my previous video that I uploaded today was talking about, which of course basically covered that whole concept of what we can expect to see in terms of how these countries that don't necessarily have these huge regulations in terms of crypto and so forth, and aren't really going to cripple themselves with red tape the same way that we see the places where that banking infrastructure and all these things are already in place. It will be very interesting to see and of course when we talk about how we can expect to see DigiByte really capitalizing on this, it is very interesting. I mean, this one right here is also interesting on the DigiByte Reddit, which is talking about well, I think no, never mind, it's no longer here. But yeah, it is. I mean, it is interesting just to see how how people have been adapting to these things, and it is refreshing to see all the newer generation getting interested. And we've had a ton of new subscribers on the channel, a ton of engagement and a lot of activity with people who've been using my channel as a resource, the cryptocurrency YouTuber channel as a resource, and sort of just helping each other and helping build the community. And I think that's really what it's all about. I think at the end of the day, we need to stick together and continue to provide that DigiByte awareness and help people, who are pretty much who are interested in Bitcoin and so forth, sort of see the broader application. And I'm not saying that blockchain is the end all be all, but when we look at a lot of these different factors and so forth, I mean, it is the it is a great option. I mean, so it's interesting to see just how we've been watching a lot of these different aspects sort of coming into their own, in terms of how, the adoption of these things is happening. And of course, it's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to see people buying a coffee with a Bitcoin. I mean, it has to do with taxes and stuff like that. Of course, not, but more or less using that as a vehicle to discuss the adoption sort of paradox when it comes to the fact that people probably otherwise who are comfortable where they currently stand, with a Bank of America account or something like that, wouldn't necessarily see. I mean, of course, there is the volatility aspect and so forth when we look at Bitcoin, and of course the reputation that cryptocurrency has. But that's why I make this content. That's why I continue to put forth just constant updates and so forth to help people understand, or at least shed some light on the topic, in whatever way possible. Just trying to do as much work as possible to help make the. I mean, I think that blockchain all in all is a pretty good thing, as far as when we look at the internet, and the vast implications that are the internet will have for all the different generations moving forward. But yeah, of course, remember, this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. I'm not your dad. I'm not your financial advisor. So remember to do your own research. And of course, I would recommend the DigiByte Reddit is a good resource. Of course, Twitter is also a good resource. And it is always important to have conversations with other people, in comments and stuff like that is very useful. Just doing these sort of things is, it does help, but I would say take everything with a grain of salt. And of course, you always have to make up your own mind when it comes to everything that you're going to do in this space. And you are responsible for yourself. But I just want to say thank you for everybody who's subscribed to the channel. Thank you for everybody who's helped support. Just my heart goes out to everybody out there who's been reaching out to me. I can't believe the amount of support that's been coming to this channel lately. And I think that we have some really great places to go from here. I have some really exciting plans for content for this channel, and I think that things are going to be getting pretty awesome over this next couple of months, and I'm very excited. I've been working I've basically been working 70 hours a week, just I have a lot more time now, though. That long stretch is over, so I have a little bit more time to make content. But yeah, all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.